Okay, today we're going to look at Lesson 13 that comes from Section 2.4 in your textbook. And your learning objective or I can statement is I can write and graph linear equations. Now, this lesson has a lot of different parts, but I'm going to try to go through it as quickly as I can and still give you the information that you need. Okay, but do remember, a lot of it is review, and it's stuff that you should have seen before and probably practiced quite a bit. Okay, if not, if it seems brand new to you, that's fine. My goal is to give you all the resources you need in the video. Okay, the first type of problem that we're going to see is where we write an equation in slope-intercept form when we're given the slope and a point. So that means that the line has a slope of -5 and it goes through the point -6, 3. So we're going to use our slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and we're going to plug in what we know. So I know that -5 is my m. I know I have an ordered pair, so I have an x and a y. So if I have m, x, and y, I can plug those into my equation. So the y that I have is 3. The m is -5. The x is -6, and I don't know b. So all I did there was substitute in some values. Now I'm going to simplify and solve. So -5 times -6 is positive 30. So I have 3 equals 30 plus b. To solve for b, I'm going to subtract 30 on both sides, and I get -27 equals b. Okay, so now that I have my slope and my b, I can make an equation. So y equals -5x minus 27. And that is my final answer. That's the equation of the line that passes through this point and has this slope. Okay, here's example number 2. You have the slope of -1/2, and the line is going through the point 10, -4. So pause the video, give this one a try, and see what you can do. All right, now let's check your answers. So again, I'm going to use y equals mx plus b. This time my m is -1/2, my x is 10, and my y is -4. So I'm going to plug each of those numbers into my equation. So my y is -4, my m is -1/2, my x is 10, and then plus b. Now let me simplify. -1/2 of 10 is -5. That equals -4, and then bring down the plus b. Add 5 to both sides, and we have 1 equals b. So now I've got my m, I've got my b, I can make my equation. So y equals -1/2 x plus 1. Okay, for our next type of problem, you need to find the intercepts of the line and graph the line represented by the equation. So for this, we're going to use standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. And when you need an x-intercept, your y value is 0, and so the coordinate point is some number, 0. When you're looking for the y-intercept, your x is 0, and your y is some value. Okay, here is our first example of this type of problem. So you can do this a couple different ways. The first way, I'm going to work it all out, and then I'm going to show you a little bit of a shortcut. So I'm going to find the x-intercept. So I'm just going to make a note. I'm looking for the x-intercept here. So if I have an x-intercept, that means my y value is 0. So I'm going to put a 0 in for y. So I have 3x plus 0 equals -6. Well, we know a 0 just disappears. So we have 3x equals -6. We divide both sides by 3, and x is -2. So the ordered pair would be -2, 0. Now I'm going to find the y-intercept, and it's the opposite. So instead of y being 0, x is going to be 0. So 3 times 0 plus y equals negative 6. We know 3 times 0 is just 0. That cancels out, and we're left with y equals negative 6. So our ordered pair would be 0, negative 6. Okay? So you can plug in 0 for those variables and solve them out. Or a shortcut is just covering up the opposite variable, or the variable that's going to cancel out. So if we're solving for x, we know that y is going to disappear, so you could cover up that y term, and you're just left with 3x equals negative 6. Many of you can do that math in your head and go straight to negative 2. Okay, the opposite is for the y-intercept. If we want the y-intercept, I'm going to cover up the x, and I'm left with y equals negative 6. There's nothing left for me to do. We turn those into coordinate points, and now we're going to plot them on the graph. So for our x-intercept, it's negative 2. For our y-intercept, it's negative 6. So make sure you go to the correct axis. X is horizontal, Y is vertical. If you need to label that, you can. You will be graphing these in Math Excel, though, so you won't actually have to draw out your graphs for your work. And then connect those points with a line, arrows on the end. There you go. Okay, here's number 2. Go ahead and write it down, give it a try. You can plug in the zeros and work it out, or you can use that little shortcut I showed you, cover up the Y, then cover up the X. Okay, let's see how you did. So I'm going to find the x-intercept first. So for the x-intercept, I know that the y is going to disappear. It's going to cancel out. So that leaves me with negative 6x equals 18. I divide both sides by negative 6, and I get x equals negative 3. All right, for the y-intercept, oh, and my ordered pair, sorry, 3, 0, negative 3, 0. Now for the y-intercept, I'm going to cover up x. I'm just left with 9y equals 18. So 9y equals 18, divide by 9, and I get y equals 2. My ordered pair would be 0, 2. Now I'm going to put both of those on the graph. So negative 3, 0, 0, 2. Connect them with a line. And there's your answer. The next type of problem we're going to look at requires us to write an equation in point-slope form. So this is a different form. We've looked at slope-intercept and standard. This is point-slope. So you have y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. Now, I underlined y1, m, and x1 because those are the places where numbers are going to be plugged in, okay? Just like with slope-intercept form and standard form, you still had an x and a y in your equation, okay? Those variables were there always, even when you plug numbers in. So the same is true here. This form just looks a little bit different. So I've written 4 examples down. I encourage you to pause the video, give these 4 examples a try to make your point slope form equations, and see what you can do. Okay, now let's check our answers. So y minus y1. So on number 1, our y is 1, so we can label that y1, and this is x1. Okay, so y minus 1 equals m, which is 2/3, parentheses, x minus 9. And that's our equation. Okay, number 2, we have y minus 2 equals negative 6 times the quantity x minus 0. What do we know about x minus 0? That's right, it's just x. So we can do y minus 2 equals negative 6x. Okay, number 3, y minus 4 equals negative 1, or negative times the quantity x minus a negative 6. Now, what do we know about minus a negative? It changes to a plus. So y minus 4 equals the negative of the quantity x plus 6. So what I want you to notice is that if your x or y value is negative, it's going to look like plus or b plus inside the parentheses over here with x or on this side with y. Okay, because that minus means the opposite of. So really, this is y opposite y1. So y, the opposite of positive 1, is negative 1. Okay, and x, the opposite of x1. So here, x, the opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. Right, and our last one, we have y. It's minus a negative 8. So what's the opposite of negative 8? Positive 8. Our m is 1/4, and then in parentheses we have x minus 5. Our next type of problem is just a little bit different. We're still writing an equation in point-slope form, but this time we're only given 2 ordered pairs. So what do I need to do first? Find the slope. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You can label these x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug them in. 8 minus 0 over 7 minus 2. So that gives us 8/5. That does not simplify, so we leave it as is. Now, we're going to use our m and one of your points. You just pick one. Choose one of your points and use that to make your point slope form. So I could use the first one and have y equals 8/5 times the quantity x minus 2. Or I could have the second point, y minus 8 equals 8/5 times the quantity x minus 7. So you can pick either one of those. And I'm pretty sure Math Excel will take either one. Or it could be multiple choice, and so all you're going to have to do is find the slope and make sure that the values are plugged in the correct spot. So whether you have to type it in or do multiple choice, you should be able to figure it out there. Here's example number 6. It's just like example number 5. Pause the video, give this one a try, see what you can do. Okay, let's check it. So first let's find our slope. So negative 8 minus 7 over 2 minus a negative 3. I know negative 8 minus 7 is negative 15. 2 minus a negative 3 is 5. That simplifies to negative 3. So now I'm going to use my slope. Choose one of your points. It doesn't matter which one. Just pick one. And let's make your equation. So you could have y plus 8 equals negative 3 times the quantity x minus 2. Or you could have y minus 7 equals negative 3 times the quantity x plus 3. Either one of those will work. Okay, I might be going a little bit out of order for these next two, but that's okay. Your problems might be scrambled anyway. I'm not 100% sure. But we're going to graph a line in slope-intercept form. Okay, this is also a review from previous sections, I believe. And you should know how to do it. We know how to pick out M, we know how to pick out B, and we should know how to put those on a graph. So number 1, our B is 2. So I'm going to put a point at positive 2 on the y-axis. Now my slope is 2/5. So from this point, I'm going to go up 2 and over 5 and make a point. I'm also going to make another point, so I'm just going to go backwards. So I'm going to go down 2 and over 5 the other way. And I'm making 3 just so I can make sure my line is nice and straight and not crazy. So I recommend if you were drawing it on your own, I would want you to make 3. I'm not sure how many you can make in Math Excel, but you at least need 2. All right, so number 2, we're going to do the same thing. Our intercept is -4. Our slope is 3. I'm going to put a 1 under that so I know my run. So from here, I'm going to go up 3 over 1. I'm going to go up 3 more and over again and connect those and make a line. the last part to this section is talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. This should be review for you, but parallel lines have the same slope and different y-intercepts. Okay, that means they have the same slope, they go the same rate, the same way, and they never intersect. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. When we say opposite, we're referring to positive and negative. When we say reciprocal, we're talking about flipping it upside down or doing 1 divided by that quantity, that number. Okay, so really that just turns it upside down. For our first example, you're going to write the equation of a line that goes through the point 1, 6 and is parallel to y equals 2x minus 2. So from this, we know that our point gives us x and y, and parallel means same slope, so our m is going to be 2. And then we're going to go back to something that we did a little bit earlier in this lesson. We're going to use slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. We know y is 6, m is 2, x is 1, and we're going to solve for b. So if we simplify and have 6 equals 2 plus b, we know that b equals 4. So now we can make our equation. We've got our m, we've got our b. Our equation is y equals 2x plus 4. Here's example number 2. Pause the video, give it a try, and see what you get. Okay, let's check it. So again, we're going to use y equals mx plus b. This is x, this is y, this is our m, because we want it to be parallel, so same slope. So negative 8 equals negative 1/2 times 6, and then plus b. We can simplify. Negative 1/2 times 6 is negative 3 plus b. We add 3 to both sides and get negative 5 equals b. Now we've got our b, we have our m. Make your final equation. Y equals negative 1/2 x minus 5. Our next example is similar, but instead of parallel, we're talking about perpendicular. So we know this point gives us our x and our y, but we need to figure out our slope. So we're given negative 1/4, but we want perpendicular, so we want opposite reciprocal. So this one's negative, so the one we want is going to be positive, and we have 1/4. So if we turn 1/4 over, we have 4/1, which equals 4. So that is our m. So we're going to use y equals mx plus b again. Y is 1, m is 4, because we want our new slope. X is negative 6, and then we don't know b. We simplify. 1 equals negative 24 plus b. We add 24 to both sides and get 25 equals b. So now we use our new slope, our b. Make your equation. Y equals 4x plus 25. Okay, our last example, we need the equation of a line that goes through this point, and it's perpendicular to, I guess I should write down the rest of the equation. Y equals positive, or wait, is it positive? Yeah, positive 3x plus 7. Sorry about that. Okay, so we know this gives us x and y. We want perpendicular to this slope. So we've got to turn this slope upside down, and that's 1/3. This one's positive, so we need ours to be negative. This is the slope that we're going to use in our equation. So y equals mx plus b. I know that y is 5. M is negative 1/3. X is negative 9, and then plus b. Simplify. Negative 1/3 times negative 9, so a negative times a negative makes a positive. 1/3 of 9 is 3, so that's 3 plus b. We can subtract 3 from both sides, and we get 2 equals b. We have our b, we have our m, so y equals negative 1/3 x plus 2. Now, I know we've gone through quite a few different types of problems, but like I said, most of them should be reviewed for you. So hopefully it made sense. And always feel free to rewind the video, rewatch the video, pause the video whenever you need um, to catch whatever you missed or whatever you think you need more practice on, whatever you may need there. Okay, so use this video, go do your homework 13 in Math Excel. If you need me, let me know. Have a great day.